I'm Justine Morris, and this is your Independence Update. The Independence Township Parks and Recreation, in partnership with Turtle Toys of Clarkston, is hosting the Ryan Kennedy 2014 Kids Day at the Park. Join us for a great day of free family fun. Their mission is to provide wholesome outdoor activities for you and your children. Businesses and organizations are giving their time to encourage healthy, active lifestyles. With over 25 activities, including a kids-only garage and a petting zoo, it's sure to be a fun day. The event is at Clintonwood Park this Saturday, May 10th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Also happening is the second annual Friends of Ryan Kennedy 5K. The Clarkston High School Leadership Program and the Blue and Gold Club are putting on their race with a goal to raise enough funds to erect a play structure in Clintonwood Park to honor Ryan and his battle against brain cancer, as well as raise money for the Friends of Ryan Kennedy Foundation. Ryan was a fourth grader at North Sashba Elementary School in Clarkston, and in the spring of 2012, after a very brave fight, Ryan passed away from childhood brain cancer. If you have questions, call 248-623-3600 with the extension 3040. And you can also register online for the race at active.com and just click on the Friends of Ryan Kennedy 5K. The Clarkston Village Players is currently in production of their newest show, The Attempted Murder of Peggy Sweetwater. A hilarious farce along the lines of Monty Python and Benny Hill, we find ourselves in the late 1930s on a banana plantation in South America, where poor Miss Sweetwater is the subject of a dastardly murder attempt, and another, and still another. Absolutely nothing is serious, sacred, or stands up to much scrutiny in this loose, fast-paced comedy. Call 248-575-4104 or go online for tickets at clarkstonvillageplayers.org. This Saturday, May 10th, is the Clarkston Area Lions Club free monthly vision screening for children ages 5 months and up. Hosted again at the Clarkston Independence District Library from 10 a.m. till noon, photos are taken of the children's eyes to check for potential vision problems. Results are immediate and a report is provided at the screening. For a complete list of screenings, visit their website at clarkstonlions.org. A Taste of Michigan wine tasting will be hosted by the Clarkston Rotary Club on Thursday, May 8th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Fountains in Clarkston. Come enjoy spring, sip on Michigan's wines, munch on appetizers, and bid on auction items, and support the Rotary's community service projects. Wines available for purchase by the bottle or case, and valet parking will be provided. Spend the evening with friends, family, or business associates. The event is $35 in advance or $45 at the door. The Clarkston Area Chamber of Commerce hosts a popular facilitated networking event called Business Over Breakfast. Hosted by the area businesses, BOBs are a great way to jump in, learn how to network with fun interactive group rotations and games, and you can build your businesses while you build relationships. Events are from 7:45 a.m. to 9 a.m., and this month's host is Waterford Jewelers off Dixie. To register, visit the Chamber's website at clarkston.org. Still looking for something nice to do for your mother on Mother's Day? Why not take her to brunch? The Lakes Restaurants, located off the corner of Dixie Highway and M15, will be hosting a buffet featuring everything from pancakes to smoked salmon with an omelet station as well as a mimosa bar. The buffet runs from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. this Sunday, so come on out. If you have a story or information you'd like us to share on Independence Update, contact us at 248-623-3661 or email Matt Blow at mbleau@indetwp.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Stay tuned for some more presentations. We're with Dr. Rock here with The Thread. Let's jump right in. What's happening with the district?
Well, there's so much going on here during the month of May, Justine. We know that there's a NHS induction coming up for our high school students. We have our senior walk, which will take place very soon, along with the senior picnic, the prom, graduation, and the all-night party. And all of these things take a great deal of work from our parents and our community. Clarkston State Bank will celebrate our top achieving academic students. We appreciate so much all that their community does. Businesses such as Clarkston State Bank and chipping in to recognize the outstanding achievement of all of our kids. We have our Clarkston Foundation will recognize our Teacher of the Year this Thursday. And this year it's one of our special teachers, so from art or music or physical education. So we're really excited They do so much for us, the Clarkston Foundation, in supporting our kids, going to summer camps and supporting our teachers' professional development and the arts in general. They're just doing an outstanding job. So and Suburban Ford out of Waterford gives our Teacher of the Year a car to drive for 1 year. So it's very exciting, and we have so many outstanding teachers to recognize in those areas. Our elementary schools are putting on volunteer lunches or breakfasts for people who have served the school district all year long, and we'll have 50 or 60 in each school who come out, and it's a very, very nice event, and we so much appreciate the volunteers. And you can look for musicals at your neighborhood school and their performances, and those are always enjoyable. We've had school fairs going on, and just all kinds of events. May is a very, very busy month, a time of celebration. 5th grade graduation, 5th grade orientation, 6th grade orientation at the middle school, and so just lots and lots of things happening. Of course, our sports teams, lacrosse team is ranked 4th in the state right now. I believe they play Country Day today, and today is May 5th, 6th, right?
6th,
May 6th,
yeah.
so they play today. The softball team, girls team, plays over at Lake Orion tomorrow on the 7th. And if you get a chance, that's a big, huge game. And our track teams are out there competing and doing very well, along with all the spring sports. And I did want to mention, we had our tennis team win the state title just a few years ago. And we're very fortunate to have such a good team, as we have with so many of our teams and academic groups this year and always. And we have Paige and Dana Olson have earned scholarships to Indianapolis University, and they'll be going down to play together next year. And Lexi Bayless has earned a scholarship to Michigan State University to play tennis. So they're having an outstanding season, and these are not only great athletes, but great kids, great families who do so much to serve our community. So get out if you can and support those teams. And I think one other thing I wanted to mention, Shelley Rowland, who's a teacher at the middle school, she'll be recognized at Western Michigan University on Friday for Teacher of the Year, and I'll get a chance to go over and watch her. And she's our 3rd educator who's been recognized by state organizations this year. So I want to congratulate Shelley and look forward to seeing that.
Mm-hmm. Great. How can parents get involved with their children's education?
Well, Justine, I appreciate that question. I meet each month with the parent advisory team, which is the president from each of our PTA or PTOs from all across the district, so the representative of each school. And they spend a tremendous amount of time with volunteer events. We have fun runs, we have school fairs, volunteer breakfasts, things that I've mentioned. And they do raise all kinds of money for the playgrounds, for technology, for teacher initiatives, just amazing work that they do. And that work is so important. If you go to any of our schools on one of these evenings, tonight there's PTA Reflections at Springfield Plains, and you'll see a parking lot full of people, and they do so much for our children, and we're very, very fortunate to have such a supportive community. And I was sharing with the parent advisory team this morning, and when we think about the highest achieving schools in the world, so these world-class schools, and that's what Clarkston wants to be. You know, we have a great school system. If you went to the Poetry Slam on Friday, you saw some amazingly talented kids. You've heard about all of the different achievements throughout this year. You know that our kids go on to do great things in college and all throughout their lives, music, athletics, all of the arts. They just do amazing things. And parent involvement is very important in that. And what they're saying is not just volunteering at school, which is something we very much appreciate. That's not what makes the biggest difference in how students do in school. It's the conversations that parents have with their children. It's asking them questions. It's reading to them, not only when they're young children, which we know is vitally important for kids to hear language, to hear words from their parents, to have their parents read to them, and to put their hands on books. We know that's vital, but all throughout their lives. For older children, for parents to ask them what they're learning about in school, what they think. For parents to really have extremely high expectations for their kids. What we found is that the school systems around the world that are the highest achieving, there's not this there aren't these differences in terms of how kids experience education. Everyone, every student, there's very high expectations for them. We expect kids to work hard. We expect kids to struggle. Learning, just by its very nature, is not something that's easy to do, I don't believe. I think that learning is hard and it takes effort, and that it's a misnomer to think that because someone struggles to learn that they can't learn, that they're not, or that they're not smart. That's not true. Real, true, deep learning takes effort. It takes persistence and perseverance. And so we need our parents to really talk to their kids about what they're learning, have conversations, ask questions, listen, read to your kids, inquire about what they're doing, and really tell your kids, hey, you've got to work really hard in school in order to achieve your goals and your dreams. You cannot give up. If you get a C the first time you take a test, work harder the next time. Talk to the teacher about what you need to do differently. Push yourselves. And so we really need parents to be our partners in education. We as educators have to have very high expectations, no excuses, just expect the most for kids and coach them and help get the most out of themselves, and the same thing for parents. And along that line, I just want to, I know Mother's Day is on Sunday, I just want to take a moment to thank all of the mothers in our community. You're so important in your child's education, in your child's life. There's research that says you can predict how well a child will do in school based upon his or her mother's reading level and level of education. And so that just tells you right there how important that is, that relationship with kids, the nurturing, the loving. So I just want to thank moms for all that you do.
Oh, that's nice. What's happening with the strategic plan?
Well, Justine, our Board of Education's been working very hard all year long on a strategic plan, and we started last spring. And we had meetings with the ISD and some facilitators and all of our board members and some administrators. And we talked about several areas of focus. So we want to be a top school system, as I mentioned, top in Oakland County. We want to be top in the world. And that's not because we're competing with other school systems, as in we're trying to win. It's because it's what our children deserve, the very, very best, academically, socially, athletically, in the arts. We have to have the best school system for our kids. So that's one area that we're focused on. How do we make sure that every single one of our students is having an excellent education? How do we implement the Common Core curriculum? How do we make sure our students are ready for new state assessments and that require a much higher level of thinking and explanation? And so that's one area that we're focused on. Another area is technology, and we have an aging technology infrastructure in terms of what's in our walls with switches, with computers in our classrooms, and those need to be updated. The Windows operating system is going to go away and not be supported anymore, and we need to have an updated computer system. So we're having an external analysis done on that, and that'll be discussed at our next board meeting, and we look forward to figuring out ways to update that. And then we have an operations plan. Clarkston has more than 12 buildings. We have grass to mow and parking lots to plow. We have tennis courts to keep up, and we have air conditioners and carpeting. We have buses, all kinds of things that cost money to update and keep going. And so it's very important that we're planning ahead, that we're thinking ahead, that we know how our systems are operating and what needs updating, and that we're constantly on top of that. So that's another area. We're also focused on finance. This year we've been able to add to our fund balance and balance our budget. We will do that again for the next school year, 2 years in a row. I know a lot of school districts are struggling financially, laying off teachers, closing schools, and we're very fortunate in Clarkston that we're not doing those things. We're going in the opposite direction, and that's because our employee groups have worked with us, our teachers, our administrators, all of our employees, our bus drivers, our custodians, everybody's made sacrifices so that our school system can continue to be financially in a good spot. And so we're really feeling good about that. We're having discussions with our board about what to do with the excess revenue we have in terms of addressing our critical needs. We're also looking at human resources, things like teacher evaluation, which the state is discussing right now, all kinds of things with our employees in terms of negotiations and wellness and those things that are so important. We have nearly 1,000 employees, so that's a high area that we need to pay attention to and make sure we're taking care of them and doing the best we can for them. And then the final area of our strategic plan is communications. And we're having an external audit done on that as well to see what are the areas where we're really strong in communications and what are some areas where we need to improve. And we'll get that feedback from our consultants, and then we'll be looking at ways to put those items into the budget and improve our communication, which is so vitally important. So our board and our administration, we're working really, really hard on our strategic plan, and we're trying as the best we can to have the best school system in the world. Yeah. And there's one other thing I wanted to mention. As I spend time, I visited another school this week with some teachers and principals and in a different school district, and I know that our community knows this. When we talk about volunteers in schools and school fairs and athletic events and arts events, concerts and things like the Poetry Slam, the things you're watching on TV right now, there's somebody behind the scenes for all of these events, whether they're coaches, they're conductors, whether they're parent volunteers, or they're theater directors, they're people in the back of the room, they're principals. These people spend an amazing amount of time. If there's a school fair on a Saturday, the principal is there. We had a SCAMP event on Sunday to raise funds. Our administrators, many of them were there. There was a Chuck Keegan race on Saturday, and our administrators, our teachers, our track coaches were there. Friday night we had the Poetry Slam. Many teachers, administrators, parents, they're there. This takes an amazing amount of time. Being a teacher or an administrator or any role you play in a school district is amazingly time consuming. And we don't do these things because of the amount of money we make. We do these things because we absolutely love what we do. We are passionate about it. We serve children, we serve communities, and we love to see our students shine. We want the very, very best for them. And as you go to graduation and see all of these events happening, know that those administrators, that those teachers, that the custodians, they're there above and beyond. And I just want to take a moment to thank everyone for the work that you do with kids all across our school system.
Great. Thank you. I have to say, I find you really inspiring. So we appreciate you coming on here weekly.
I appreciate that very much, Justine. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for watching The Thread. Up next, we'll be featuring a presentation by Pat Kittle. We're now here with Pat Kittle, the Township Supervisor. I've been hearing you talk about this entrance ramp from Sashabaw onto 75, and it sounds like a large project. You want to give us some details?
Yeah, it's a huge project, Justine, and thank you for asking. The whole I-75 Sashabaw interchange has been discussed probably going back for 10, 15 years. The bridge that was developed there initially, we sure wish it would have had an extra lane or two, because, I mean, going back into the 70s when DTE or Pine Knob first opened up, you know, traffic used to back up well beyond maybe. And it really hasn't gotten much better, to be honest with you. There's been some improvements, but it still is a pinch point. And what we're going to be proposing to do isn't going to change the ramp per se, but it will help facilitate the movement of vehicles both on and off the expressway and up and down Sashabaw by putting in some smart lights and some other traffic improvements that will really reap benefits. So here's the kind of the big picture of what the whole project is going to look like. And everything in yellow that you see here is what's being planned. And the total cost of this is about $4 million, and I'll get into the cost breakdown later. But if we could just start to zoom in on what the new ramp is now, and I can tell you what all of the different components are and the benefits to the residents when we start to bring it to market. Fair enough?
Right, sure.
All right. So why don't we zoom in? And we're going to start, and we're going to go left to right here. But the big loop that you see in yellow, that secondary ramp, that is going to be dedicated for southbound Sashbaugh only. So this will be all new. And so let's say traffic is backed up on 75, it's a concert night, you'll be able to stay to the left, get past the traffic jam, and come over to the right and exit. So those residents who do want to get to their home, or those people who need to get to a particular business will be able to do that and avoid the traffic jam. As you would start to move up Sashbaugh, we are going to add a left turn lane right where that first blue box is there. That would allow you to get into the park and ride. That's new. That park and ride will also be equipped with smart lights. So again, if there's no traffic coming in and out of the park and ride, that light will stay green, so those people who are heading north will be able to be facilitated much quicker without having a traffic light to contend with. Between the two blue boxes, there's also another left turn lane that will get you onto northbound 75. That is new, and what we have experienced in talking with MDOT, that's a high traffic area, and having people be able to get into that little left turn pocket there will greatly enhance their ability to enter the northbound ramp much safer. And as you can see, we had to shift the actual entrance ramp over a little bit because of the geometrics involved with putting in that new ramp. Didn't quite meet the MDOT specs. So we had to, that little change right there cost us around $350,000. And the one thing I found out when working on roads, nothing's cheap. So if we could just kind of pull out again, and what we'll focus on now is the second half of the project, and that has to be down by the intersection of Sashbaugh and Walden. And again, zooming in here, we'll do the same thing again and just kind of move left to right, but let's zoom in right at North Sashbaugh. So this would be just to the left of the blue box. And what we're going to do there is actually widen Sashbaugh. In the mornings right now under the current configuration, we have all sorts of school buses and parents taking their kids to school. It backs up into the actual through lanes. So we're going to widen it and create two left turn lanes so that as you're heading north on Sashbaugh and you want to go west on Walden, which would be the top of the screen to head up to the high school, you'd be able to do that and would facilitate that flow of traffic and keep people out of the through lanes. Going on the top of the blue box, that would actually be Walden up there. Again, if you would continue up, that would take you up to the high school or the township offices. But we're going to widen that stretch too, so that as you're coming down Walden, we're going to add two left turn lanes there that will enable you to turn onto North Sashbaugh and will allow you to get up to the North Sashbaugh ramp or to drop you down to the South Sashbaugh ramp. Again, traffic there is now backing up to Walden Pond, and it's kind of a nightmare. And then when you take into consideration that just to the right of that intersection, there's about an 80-acre undeveloped parcel that will be developed soon. Again, it'll just add to the congestion. To the bottom of the box that we were just referencing on Walden, we're also going to be widening that to be making two left turn lanes to help facilitate traffic that way, and two right turn lanes that will enable you to get onto I-75 without having to stop at the traffic light. Okay. So again, what we're trying to do here is just help facilitate the flow, avoid as many lights as we can to get as many people on and off in and out of the community as we can. Moving right, so as we head up to the North Sashbaugh, again, we've got a couple of traffic lights there. That would be the second blue box. But again, what we're going to be doing is, if you could just move a little farther up, is the entrance ramp itself to South 75. We're going to be reconfiguring. You can see the current ramp there in gray where it says South I-75 entrance ramp. We're going to be slowing traffic down there a little bit, and instead of allowing people to exit onto that ramp at 40, 50 miles an hour, we want to slow them down a little bit. Again, it's another high traffic area, but there is a safety path that you can see. It's that skinny gray line that kind of went halfway up the screen. That's where people cross the entrance ramp to try to get across to the bridge. And it's kind of crazy asking people to run through an unmarked pedestrian crossway when cars are coming at you 50, 60 miles an hour, with the last thing that they're doing is looking for a pedestrian. Mm-hmm. So we added that yellow section, that little cutoff, which will slow traffic down. And again, as you can see, the yellow safety path just to the top of the roadway there, it will allow you to cross there in a much safer manner. So again, from a source of funds, a multitude of dollars that are coming in. If you could just show the next slide, please. In here, McLaren is donating $1.5 million. of the cost. They're giving us the money, no strings attached. This is whether a hospital comes in or not, because they are of the opinion that this will enhance the value of the community, and they own quite a few parcels of property here in town. The second $1 million is coming from tri-party funds. This is a combination of money that comes from the Road Commission of Oakland County and Oakland County proper. It's an incentive that's been put in place, and the township has actually been saving up for this for about the past 8 years, so that's another $1 million there. When we brought in Magnetti Morelli, these were incremental manufacturing jobs that came to our community, so the state had an incentive program for manufacturing jobs that come into a group, because these are truly incremental jobs, which will amount to roughly $650,000. Then we're going to be taking our CIA fund balance. This is the Corridor Improvement Authority that we presently have on Sashabaw, about $350,000, and the township is going to be making a loan to the CAA to the tune of about $500,000, and this will be paid back over a 5 or 6 year period with the tax incremental funding that comes from the taxes that are generated out of the CAA. And again, we may or may not need it, but I've got it in there just as a safety check valve. This thing is coming in like 3.8, 3.9 million. Figuring something always goes wrong, I bumped it up to 4, and that's how we did our math. So a lot happening. A lot of work is going on right now as far as engineering. That will be the predominant thing that's been happening in all last year and this year. And as we move into 15, come late spring is when they're supposed to put the first shovel in the ground.
Okay.
And this is anticipated to be completed roughly the first quarter of 2016.
Okay.
So it's happening. This has been talked about for years. Again, I keep getting asked, well, why don't we just get the ramp and make this a whole lot easier? Well, we take a $4 million project and we turn it into a $12 million project, and that money's just not there. So again, another question I was asked is, why don't we just take this money and plow it into our local roads? Well, a couple of reasons is one, we don't control the local roads, the Road Commission does. And two, the township is continuing to grow. Whether we get a hospital or not, we got 190 acres of undeveloped commercial property at Sashabaw. And no matter what goes in there, it's going to bring in more traffic. We have to find a way to help get traffic through this intersection better. We have to help residents get off the expressway on concert nights. We have to provide a way to distribute the flow as best we can. So. Not the best solution, but the best we can do with the limited resources and in the time frame that we have to work with. So that's what's going on with the roads.
Yes, thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Share that with us.
Yep.
All right, and let's see, stay tuned for a presentation regarding the library from Dr. Robert Inskeep.
Thank you.
Joining us now is Dr. Robert Inskeep, a longtime resident of the area, and I understand you are a strong supporter of the millage to fund the library. Do you want to explain that to us?
I'd be happy to. Thanks for the opportunity to be here to do this. We've been residents of the area for about 23 years, and I wanted to have an opportunity to talk about the library millage that's coming up because, quite frankly, if the millage doesn't succeed, we will not have a library in Independence Township. Right now, the supervisor and the treasurer of Independence Township has gone on record that without the millage passing, they will not support funds coming from any other source, if there are any other sources, to continue the library. We are fortunate to be part of a network of libraries within the area. If our library closes, we won't be able to turn to libraries in Brandon, we won't be able to turn to the Waterford Library, the Lake Orion Library, the Springfield Library for loaner services. We will no longer be a part of that unique network of sharing among all of the many libraries that we have in the area. Libraries meant a lot to me and my family and my friends through the years, and I just really would hate to see it go for all of the things that it's done for us. Let me just kind of share some of those things with you. Ever since my son Matt was in elementary school, Monday through Sunday, the library was a place for him to go to work on his school projects, his book reports, and all of that sort of thing. It was a place for me to go too, to work on my dissertation, to work on research, and just have a quiet place to go and to be. The library has even offered me an opportunity for me to meet with some of my doctoral students at Lawrence Tech University to talk with them about their dissertations and to work on some of the work that they were doing. It has really been, I guess, just a great source of one-on-one information. I've used the reference librarians a lot at the library for information. I've had an opportunity to refer a lot of friends and people at some of the various churches around the area to the library for help about information about jobs when they were out of work and seeking jobs. The library has a tremendous amount of resources in that area. I've also used the library for a lot of their books on tapes. They've saved my life literally in terms of keeping me awake on some of those road trips and things that we've taken. But I've got to say that the library provided me with probably the greatest service last year. When I, after retiring, slipped into a bout of depression and just sort of found myself just wondering, who am I now? What am I going to do with the rest of my life? And the library provided, I guess, just a really kind of a quiet, safe, comfortable place for me to go to sort some of that out. There's an area over in the library where there's couches, and it's quiet, and it's comfortable. And particularly during the day, I would go there and I would have the opportunity to just kind of read and think and be surrounded by just a whole lot of energetic, positive people who, even though I wasn't talking with them and interacting with them, just made me have a sense that things weren't nearly as bad as they were. So with the help of that place to go, professional help, the support of my family, I managed to get my head back on straight. And that's just something that maybe people wouldn't normally think of the library as providing that kind of a haven.
Right, yeah. I can see that. And I like that little back room as well, that little quiet area.
Yeah, it really is neat and kind of unique for a bustling library like the one that we have here.
Right. You've talked, I guess, about your personal contemplation there, and it's a place that also people can go and share ideas together. Can you explain a little more detail about that?
Well, libraries through the years have always been a great place for people to kind of come together, not only for their own individual learning, but to kind of learn together and do things together. And as you know, we're becoming more of a isolated society, so that place for people to come together in a physical kind of a place, those places seem to be shrinking. Small communities, suburbs, don't tend to have enough common meeting kind of places to kind of support group activities and growth and action. Schools, churches, they do what they can as far as gathering people and bringing them together, as does the government. But as a society, I think we need more common places for that kind of action, and we certainly don't need less. The library through the years has provided a number of programs and group purpose kinds of activities that I just think would be a shame to lose if we ended up losing the library. I made a note of some of the things, the book club discussion groups, preschool story time, toddler, 2-year-old programs. But there have been a lot of civic meetings that have been held in that location. A lot of the nonprofit groups that I've been associated with, the North Oakland Headwaters Land Conservancy, they've had meetings there, special events, Historical Society. I even remember going to some early joint training programs on use of the internet and an opportunity to just, I'm not real technically oriented, as my son will tell you,
But it's been an opportunity to go and again, in a kind of a safe adult learning kind of environment, learn a lot of those things that are going on. And I've attended a lot of government committee meetings and things like that at the library. We need that. We need that space. We need that place. And I really would hate to see that lost if we lost the library.
Now, in this day and age, you know, we can find information online. Kind of everything's right at our fingertips if we want it to be. And there are other places, you know, there's coffee shops, or, you know, there's other places. Why specifically do we need the physical library?
Well, that's a good point. So much is digitalized, and there are those opportunities to just kind of Google whatever we want to know and have it right there. But that opportunity to maybe interpret and understand is lost, I think, if you're not in that kind of a setting where you might be able to use the reference librarian or talk to somebody else physically about what it is you're reading and you're learning. Not everything is digitalized. You know, not everything is out there. The kind of personal experiences that people have and share in a physical setting might be lost. You got to remember, too, that all of that technology, all of that equipment still costs money. And to maintain that and to have that, there are individuals who, again, may not be able to afford all of the latest in terms of technology. But if we put that money into I guess, a kind of a common setting and a common source place, like the library, people of all walks of life and different socioeconomic strata can come and use the library and have benefit of it right there. I just can't say enough for it as a physical place where, again, we can not only use technology, but learn about technology and how to use it, and kind of foster the educational goals that we have for using something like a library.
Any final thoughts or comments you want to share with us about this millage?
Yeah, I'm really not an expert on the millage, and I'm not by far an expert on the library. It served me well, it served my family well, and I appreciate that. I just think that it's a vital part of the community. I just think it would be a shame to lose this very unique resource in our community. From what I understand, the millage might cost the average homeowner $125 annually in taxes. Now, granted, that's an increase over what the funding level has been in the past, but funding level, as I understand it, hasn't changed in the last 35 years. And as you can imagine, with the shrinking ability of the dollar to buy things, we really have a decrease in funding over the last 35 years. So I would hope that people would realize, I think somebody gave me a statistic the other day that since 1999, I believe, the actual buying power of the millage that's provided to the library has dropped 40+%. So I guess what I would say to you and to all of you out there is, I'm not an expert on the library. I would ask you to go out and maybe learn a little bit more about what the library can do. Go to the website, www.indelib.org. Find out about the library, and when August 5th rolls around, get out there and vote yes for the millage for the Independence Library.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you coming on and sharing this.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.